This isn't really a mailbag. It sort of is, but I know exactly what's in there, which is most unusual. It is an Orange Pi 3B, 8 gig I think is the one they ordered, and all sorts of other yummy stuff. So it's part of a package. I didn't order it off my normal Orange Pi supplier, so that could be interesting. And really all I want to do is to see if all the bits and pieces are there, and then I'll take it upstairs, put on the latest Ubuntu. Okay, so the package includes a 32 gig SD card, nice, 120 megabytes per, I don't know, what else? A totally unsuitable, oh, it is suitable, wait, hold that thought. Sometimes they send out the wrong adapter. This one is 5 volt and 300 milliamp, and it's Australian. Happy days. Nice. There's our Orange Pi 3B. Let's take a look at that. So, beautiful thing that it is. Plenty of reviews done about this online, so you can not really, I mean, I can review it if someone wants me to go through it, that's fine. But basically, I'm here for the fast Ethernet port and the onboard EMMC memory, which means that you put your SD card in, you load up your operating system onto the EMMC, and then you eject, and that's the last it needs to see of that card, which is so good. Some bits and pieces associated with, okay, so a little adapter here for the SD card. There's a fan in there. There's some heat sinks in there. Nice. And then we've got some other bits and pieces. HDMI cable, always good. Oh, this is an EMMC. So this is the one that you, oh, okay, so that's the difference with this one. So yeah, it's not on board. This is a 64 gig EMMC, which you attach somewhere. Ooh, okay, I've got some reading to do. Yeah, I want to say maybe here. Yep, that looks like it fits exactly in here. In fact, it says, if I read it, it says EMMC. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Bit of a brain fade. So 64 gigabytes is plenty, but there's more. There's a case as well, so I'll put it all inside a case. And I also ordered, I thought it was part of the same package, but maybe separately, after the brain fade, the very next package, which I open up, and again, sorry, it's not an actual mailbag, but I did spot the size and shape of it, and it is an NVMe drive. That's what I was looking for, and it is, I think, from memory, 1 terabyte. Yeah, 1 terabyte it says, and it just slots into the back here, I believe. All right, so I've got all the bits and pieces. I really will go upstairs now. The next you'll see will be hopefully a fully running system, and we'll test the size of this, the size of the, where's my little EMMC, and some of the other stats about this thing. Nice.
So how do you build your own custom Ambient for your Orange Pi? Well, or for anything else that matter. It's actually reasonably straightforward. You just go to this website, GitHub Armbium/build, and then down the bottom, it basically says install Git, and then clone this particular repository, and then CD to build and compile, and then just follow the instructions. Pretty straightforward. And if you've got changes to make on those instructions, yeah, it's like it just follows through. I keep a track of what I'm building, but you don't really have to. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So let's say that I've done that, and you can see that the build is there. So I just go into that, and all you need to do then is to just compile. It'll ask for the sudo. Well, I mean, again, you could be on Windows, but it asks for the root password basically, which I can never do when people are watching. So just turn around now. There we go. And now this looks exactly like what you'd expect. So I'm going to not change the kernel configuration. It's generating a list of all available boards. And then you just go down and choose what you've got. So yeah, pretty straightforward really. If your board's not there, there's another way. So here's, like, for instance, there's an Orange Pi Plus, all that sort of stuff. If your board's not there, you can just hit the Tab key, and you can go to the ones which are under community support. And so my Orange Pi 3B is one of those boards. So you just select basically the others. Yeah, it seems to be taking a while to generate that list. Oh, I've got stuff going on in the background. Oh yeah, I should explain that this is not this is not my normal system. So this is Ubuntu Jammy running in VirtualBox, and this Armbian build only works under Jammy. So you can either run it in a container, or I choose to run it in VirtualBox. So that's probably why it's a little slow. Yeah, and there's all your other single board computers and others that you might want to use. And down here, there's my Orange Pi 3B. So I will go for that. Do you want to do vendor Edge? I'll do Edge. And then you choose what you want. So there's Debian, Ubuntu, and so forth. I'm actually going to cancel that because I've done that already. And by the way, the process takes forever on a slow machine when you're running VirtualBox. So I actually generally put it on at night and then see what's there in the morning. But if I go to the output for that, and then let's just have a look. Let's go to images, and here are the ones that I've built so far. So I'll just show those. Yep. So I've got a Bookworm Edge. So that one is my Debian. And then I've got a Jammy Edge, and I've got a Noble Edge. So there's the two Ubuntu ones. There's a lot of flexibility in what you choose in terms of your operating system and the packages and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and then all you need to do is to burn that to your SD card. Having said that, I'm doing a slightly different recipe. Let me show you that.
So here's our Orange Pi 3B, and underneath is where you would put your SD card with the operating system burnt onto it, and then perhaps at some later stage transfer it to where the EMMC chip sits here, or to the NVMe. But I'm actually going to do it slightly differently, only because I found online a weird looking thing. So this thing here is an adapter which goes from an EMMC to an SD card. So it behaves like an SD card. So what I'll do is I'll put it into this SD to USB adapter. Let's do that now, see if that slots in okay. Yep, seems fine. And then plug it into the USB port and burn the image directly onto it. And then once that's done, hopefully we'll be able to just plug it straight into the back of the Orange Pi 3 there, and start the operating system directly without an SD card. A bit of an experiment, but we'll give it a go.
So I'm using Ballerina Etcher to write the image, which is the Orange Pi 3B Ubuntu Jammy image that I rolled. It's got the XFCE desktop on it as well. I think it's down here. It says 6.53 gigabytes, so pretty decent. And I'm looking to see if I can see the storage device, which I can. And so I'll select that and flash it. Now that takes a long time, and you'll need to probably provide your root password, but let's then move on to flashing that and then plugging it in and seeing if it works, the big experiment.
Okay, so we've got our HDMI monitor here, and we've got the Orange Pi 3B hooked up to it via the cable. Power coming in but not switched on at this stage, so let's kick it and see what happens. Oops, probably shouldn't have done that. Hopefully that's not good. So just a reminder, there's no SD card in here. It's going from the EMMC, which was hopefully flashed okay. Now if I press escape, I think you can see what's happening behind the scenes. Yep, there it goes. So that looks good. No error message that I can see at this stage. And still booting up. The first boot, whether it's on the SD card or whether it's on the EMMC, does take a little while. So that looks okay. All right, so it says Orange Pi 3B login. I think that's probably root. And I think the initial one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that looks good. That's a little bit of useless knowledge in the back of the brain coming in handy. And now it says create root password. So I might stop this while I do the root password, connect to the Wi-Fi, and we'll come back and have a look and see what this thing looks like. Okay, so that all seemed to go well. And now it's starting the desktop environment. Oh, here we go. Yeah, look at that. Mouse works, that's nice. Oh, that's interesting. So it's picked up the NVMe drive, a new version of Ubuntu. Would you like to upgrade? Sure, ask me later. Actually, one of the things that we could do, this is XFCE, so I hope I'm reasonably familiar with it. If we go to the terminal, and the usual thing to do is to do sudo update when you first log in. And sudo apt update would make more sense. Oh, there we go. And so this is all the packages that would have been fixed between. Oh, you know what we should do is we should actually jump in via Kazam, and so you get a better view of what's going on the screen, because seeing all this stuff in the background and seeing the camera's view of the screen is not ideal. So let me do that. Let me do the update and the upgrade, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the actual operating system from by doing a screen recording of it through Kazam. So yeah, I'll go back to you on that one.
Well, here we are inside the machine now. This is the desktop for this particular Ubuntu Jammy with XFCE. Pretty straightforward. All of the normal files are installed. This has probably got a little bit more than what you'd expect, actually, because I have installed quite a bit when I actually rolled the image itself, and then I've added some things since then. For instance, if we go down to multimedia here, you can see Kazam itself. Things are a little slow at the moment because Kazam is running, so what I might do is take a couple of screenshots and talk to those instead. For instance, if I run this program here, bpytop, you'll probably see that the CPU here is cranking out 79%, and the temperature is up around the 62-degree mark. And if we have a look at the list of things which are using that power, Python 3, which is running bpytop itself, Kazam is sitting there running quite like 62% of the CPU at the moment. Xorg, of course, because this is a desktop. I mean, I'm not even sure I would use this as a desktop, to be honest. I tend to use things like this, these little SBCs, as servers, just doing things like running a 3D printer or Pi-hole, or as a NAS server or something like that. Yeah, so I might take a couple of screenshots and look at that instead, and you might get a better view of how this thing normally runs. So here's a screenshot of the same application, bpytop, running, but this time no Hungry Hippo style programs like Kazam sitting around the top. Just got Xorg pretty obviously, and also Python 3, which is the engine behind what we're looking at right now. And you can see the CPU percentages dropped down to 4%, the temperature's dropped. I have set this pretty high at 1.8 gigahertz. It's the top end. You can set what you want your processor to run at, and so that will make a difference. And here you can also see the 4 cores running, and at the moment the distribution of those threads. So yeah, that's pretty good. What else have we got here? Oh, we've got our memory here. So 7.51 gigabytes, used 874, and then you can see what's available and in the cache and so forth. As far as the disks go, what have we got? Here's 937 gigabytes. That's our NVMe drive, and then we have our 56 gigabytes, which is our normal EMMC. So yeah, that's a little better. Let's go to the next screen. And I've just captured here the output that you would get from the Orange Pi 3B if you logged in via SSH. So there's a couple of script files here. One is called 10 Armbium header, and the other one is called 30 Armbium sysinfo, and they greet you when you log in remotely. And the joy of this one is that it tells us that we're using our Armbium unofficial blah blah blah. So that's what we rolled ourselves with Bleeding Edge Linux, and there is the 6.10.6 Edge kernel, and this is the Rockchip 64. So that's pretty good. And then it's got similar specs here. We've got a uptime of 29 minutes when I took this screenshot anyway. Shows the IP on the local LAN here, and we've got 11% of the 57 gigabyte disk used as our memory. CPU temperature a bit high at that stage, and what's received, I guess, via the internet coming across for downloading and so forth. The next one here is a great little program called NeoFetch. Pretty much probably all you'd need if you just wanted to find out what's going on with your system. And again, similar information shows that we've got Armbium, we've got the RK3566, Orange Pi 3B, it's picked that up. It's telling us what the kernel is, uptime of 30 minutes, the packages that have been installed, the fact that I'm using Bash, the resolution of the screen, which is pretty good, that's via HDMI. We've got the desktop is XFCE, and the window manager is XFWM4, the window manager theme, and some other themes concerned with icons and the like. CPU, there's 4 cores running at 1.8 gigahertz, and then the memory display as well. What else did I screenshot? Oh yeah, just the output from LSBLC, which is telling us all about our disks, and also LSUSB, showing here that, for instance, we've got, there you go, so you've got 3 USB 3 there, and you've got a couple of USB 2s and so forth. There's the headset that I was using to record this, and also outputting to an HP keyboard and mouse combo. Also, there's a sysinfo program that comes with Ubuntu, and it's just showing here what's happening in all the different cores and all the little bumps and so forth, all color coded for what's going on. That's pretty cool. The memory information, which we saw before, and the network information as well. And finally, I got Gemini, AI Gemini, to draw me some graphs based on some read-write speeds that I had done on the SD card when it was plugged in. So I plugged in, did some read-write on an SD card, on the EMMC, and on the NVMe. The NVMe, of course, coming out a clear winner. It makes me wonder if I should not have maybe have put the operating system on there. Maybe something to explore in the future. So that's some static pictures, and let's go back to the live feed and the final wrap. So that is the Orange Pi 3B going through its paces. I'd have to say it's a pretty impressive little beast for the money. Of course, I've added a couple of extra things. Having the EMMC on there is a pretty good thing, so it's not a slave to the SD card. What else? The NVMe drive will prove pretty useful. I think if I set this up as a NAS, I'll probably use the NVMe drive as a buffer. I've read something about that online to speed up the delivery of media through the Wi-Fi. Yeah, so it's a pretty impressive little beast. If you have any questions about how I set it up, how I installed the operating system, then just let me know. I will probably most likely just run it as a server. I think I'll put it in the right box. I'll put some heat sinks and the fan on there, and it'll sit quietly and do its thing hopefully for many years to come. That's the circuit working for this week. We'll see you next time.